Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. And today I would like to present you, I will say a friend that I just met. She's great and wonderful. Hi, Michele. How are you?
Hi, I'm great today. Actually, I'm very rested. I feel excited for this beautiful day and this conversation with you. Thanks for having me here. I
Oh,
appreciate being.
I'm really glad to have you. And yes, for maybe the audience who doesn't know you, can you just tell us about you, what you do?
Yeah, sure. I love this conversation. It's like, okay, here comes the big thing, right? Like, let me
Yeah.
tell you truly, like, I'm a human being. Like, I'm a mom. I've been married over 30 years. I've got two grown, beautiful daughters, and I'm an intuitive life and business coach and also a master numerologist. And all that's really fancy to say, I just help you come home to yourself. And in my work, it's been this beautiful journey and unfolding of remembering who I am beyond the stress, beyond all the obligations, beyond life should, need tos, and have tos. So I love helping others move beyond that so they can take that burnout and really bring it into purpose, into discovering what they're here to do and how they're here to express fully in this lifetime.
Okay. And you do that especially with the entrepreneur, right? Or it's with everyone?
Yes. Yeah, no, I would say originally like I didn't think I helped coaches and healers, but I help coaches, healers, and entrepreneurs, everyday people who want to reach that next level, who realize where they're stuck and they're wanting to move beyond what is now, but not quite sure exactly what they need to get to the next place, right? So I've had such a beautiful mix of people, but usually have that entrepreneur passionate spirit.
Okay. And you mentioned that you are doing numerology. And yes, I would like to know maybe a little bit more. I know I we did it together and I was like amazed. So if you can maybe share with the audience, the people who don't know exactly what it is, like how I didn't.
Yeah, well, I love to keep it simple, and numerology is a pathway, much like many of the modalities that kind of bring us into our own body, into ourself. It's such a beautiful connector to remembering who we are, our personality gifts, our traits, our superpowers, and even the obstacles and the challenges that we face, but finding the patterns in them. And when we can recognize the patterns, we can bring in more acceptance. We can use them and leverage them as ways to navigate some of these things so we're not constantly in that loop of life's happening to me, but it
Mhm.
really opens it up that we get to actually create our own reality. And when we understand more about ourselves, we understand more our personality codes or what we've actually come to express in this lifetime, we get the opportunity to see ourselves, love ourselves, and accept ourselves that much more. And that's a complete game changer, in my opinion, than when we're trying to scramble for all the things outside of us that we think are going to bring the fulfillment. But
Mhm.
truly, that journey inward is the key code. They're all the key codes for us to love more, to thrive in life, and to create more ease, letting go of the struggle. Does that make sense? So it's a beautiful modality to bring us home to ourselves.
Okay. I will just put my volume. Okay. And yes, because the way you do it is like you really get to the point where people need it, that to remember. Actually, that's true. It's really to remember, because I think they know already, but they, maybe it's just in the back of their mind.
Yeah. I think we forget. I think life is busy and it's stressful sometimes, and we experience a full range of emotions as being human. And sometimes, in a world that teaches us we don't have time for emotion, it's the very same thing that frees us to get through what ails us and connect the mind and body together, because I feel like the body is constantly talking to us. Our higher mind, our higher self is constantly talking to us,
I
but we
agree.
can get so inundated in everyday life and really insignificant things that can take over our focus. I think the main reason being that if we're not intentional with our thoughts, if we're not intentional with knowing how the mind and the body work together, then
Mhm.
we feel like we're at the whim of it. We feel like, we want to take our mind off and just let it be quiet and we'd be at peace. Or we feel like our body's our enemy. And so we work so hard to contort it and put it into a box instead of just loving and appreciating it. And if you think about how, if it was true, or just in this moment, just to think differently in perspective, that your body truly loves you, your mind is included in that body. We are a soul contained in this vessel.
Mhm.
If we stop and listen a little bit more and ask, I'm going to say better questions, it's not a judgment, but like more direct questions on what's happening in here, then we're not just operating out of our conscious mind, we're bringing some of our unconscious or subconscious beliefs forward through the body's speaking to us. It's say, hey, this pain's been here for a minute. Hey, this is that feeling when you're not really excited about what you're doing, but you're compromising your time. Or hey, what if we just give ourselves the nurturing that we give everyone else? But we're like, yeah, yeah, and then we move on with life,
Mhm.
right? And when we're willing to look at ourselves differently, something through numerology, for a moment, we're in this present moment of receiving. We're in this moment of saying, oh my gosh, I am those things I thought were so great about myself, but I've been so used to telling myself something differently that I couldn't see the forest from the trees. And numerology brings you into remembering that this is who you are. Everything else has been conditioning and programming and automated loops because your brain has told you over and over what you've been telling it, most like on a replay, like a computer that says, okay, well, this is what you want to listen to, I'll keep playing it back, right? and
Yeah,
and in that, I think we forget, and then add in a couple traumas or loss or some big things in life that we just for a minute be outside of ourselves. We can be inundated in all of the worry and all of the scarcity and all of the guilt and all of the shame and all of the other emotions
yeah,
that also allow us to feel, right? And decide, am I going to stay here, or am I going to choose something differently?
different.
And I think we forget that we can choose. And so through the numbers offer us these beautiful ranges between each number, these vibrant, intuitive feelings, um, and expressions on the empowering side at the highest and the disempowering side at the lowest, without being right or wrong. It's just, where am I in that spectrum and what else is available? So it really opens us to possibilities that we aren't used to calculating in our own mind's eye. So.
Yeah. And I think also the challenge that people have that I hear a lot is balancing like work and uh, life, actually family, you know.
Yeah.
That's also a big challenge for most of the people, especially
Yeah.
for women, I think. Don't you agree? Yeah.
Yeah, because we feel, I think so. I used to say like I was a multitasker, and I took some pride in that. And I think women are pretty good at
Yeah.
doing a lot of things and remembering, right? Like again, so it's funny. We'll remember all those things, but we won't take time to come in and remember, the good parts about us. And then we judge ourselves, or we're comparing, or we try to do this perfection that is never attainable, right?
Hmm.
And it really does, it changes our focus. But what I really love about that is, when we can understand that we're more than just the things that we do in a day, that we can include ourselves in the participation of so many of these busy things, then it's not about balancing as much as it is harmonizing with what you love, and
Yeah.
not waiting for it for a day that's going to be there in the future when all this is done. We
Hmm.
get it so backwards, right? And me too. I'm my hands raised. I've been there. And every day it's like, check in, where am I?
Yeah.
What am I doing, right? So I'm not trying to say this from a place of hierarchy. It's just in this learning, in this decision to want to experience
Mhm.
more. The more isn't better than somebody. It's the best I can be today, like my highest potential. And my highest potential was not being stressed out and being that reflection to my kids, and not being so disconnected that I wasn't present in the moments of them wanting to play with blocks or them wanting to take a walk in the leaves or like all those little moments in life.
Yeah.
And I really learned something very valuable in my life in a moment where everything else felt like it was falling apart. The things I couldn't control were all of those things. The thing that I could control was how I chose to respond and how I chose to be present every day. And so at this particular time in our life, everything was unfolding. We were losing our business, we were losing our beautiful house and all the future that we thought was ours, right? And in the unwinding, we had a choice to be stressed, to be sick to our stomach, to be worried and be disconnected from our family, or to be
Okay.
outside and watch them play, to be together, to have little picnics on the ground, to find the things we could do and find the beauty in the small things. And it fully changed my perspective on what else was possible at any moment for us, which I think is why this work is so valuable to me because it extends that view, that lens, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just this lens now, it's this
Yes.
360-degree lens.
Mm-hmm.
If we choose to, or if we decide to take that journey. Now, it's not that you've done something wrong if you didn't know, but I think so many of us just don't know. I
Yeah.
didn't know. I didn't know it was
Just
available.
we just follow what has been done, and that's it.
Yeah, and there's so much more that we're here to experience in this lifetime. And it's not these grandiose things, right? It's like we talk about money and abundance a lot in the work that I do. People want to make money. They want to get their passion out. I wanted the same thing. Oh, my own job, my own business, make my own money, very exciting, you know. I was very successful building businesses with my husband, but what could I do on my own, right? And then
Mm.
all the fears, all the stuff came up, you know. I was like, oh crap. But in that desire to make money, I didn't realize there was a getting energy. I could get that from somebody. I could get a client. I could get all the things, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Instead of realizing I'm already so abundant, what if I just raise my frequency into what's already around me? I wouldn't have to change anything, but boy, wouldn't I take that perspective and keep opening it and be able to experience a few more possibilities in life than what my mind thought was only possible?
Yes.
And so much of that journey was how much abundance is here right now. You know, I have multiple coffee cups. Do you? Like, you know, and then the coffee that goes in it and the lights that turn on and the home that
Yeah.
I'm in, paper and the pens and like all the little things that we can take for granted because we're not used to telling our brain focus on these things.
Yes.
And so anything that can bring us back to a remembering or a reminding or a, oh yeah, that's also possible. I don't know about you, but it just opens up such a bliss in life for the
Ye-
simplest things.
Yeah, for me too, because you see the abundance differently, actually. The little things that you have, some like, sometimes you just hearing birds, you just sit there and you hear them sing and you're like, oh my God, yeah, that's nice, those little things. And I
Yeah.
think people actually forget that we have to be grateful also for that. It's not just about money, material. Um, we have so much, and just by listening, we can see different opportunities that is in front of
Right.
us.
And then we become the expression of that abundance
Yeah.
by how we're feeling and thinking, and then it shows up anyway. Money's energetic. It
Yeah.
matches the vibration from which we're working from. Now, that's not the only way to make money. We can push, we can force, we can do all the things. There's tons of ways to make money. Money is plentiful, it's everywhere. Whether
Yeah.
you believe it's true or not doesn't mean it isn't true in general. And so the trick is, where am I in my own definitions and beliefs of what's abundant for me and what else is available?
Yeah.
And, the quest for that, it took a few, I'm going to say minutes in quotations to figure that out,
Yeah.
right? But now it flows in, and it flows in from unexpected places, and I'm not so wrapped in the, oh my gosh, I have to have this thing, the desperation,
Yeah.
that I'm not remaking more desperation in my own energetic field, right? I'm in the love of what's possible. I'm in the focus of what can I do in this moment. There's a lot I can't sometimes, but there
Mhm.
are always more that I can. And that seems to just open up this bounty of the feeling state of abundance,
Yeah.
of value, of worth, of love, of trust, of truth. Like it just continues to grow and
Yeah.
expand. And I would say, even, well, 6 years ago, I began the journey. I would say 2 years ago, I was still resisting and fighting myself on this particular topic.
Okay.
I knew all the information, but my body was still scrambling to believe.
Okay. Sorry, I was,
That's
yeah, I'm back.
that's just coming back. Our energy is like pulsating the waves today.
Yeah.
What did you hear at the last? Was you able to hear what I was
Yes,
saying?
you were saying that you were struggling with the energy. Your body was reacting in certain way.
Yeah, it was holding, like controlling really tight. And so it was really diving into a little bit deeper inner work to realize where I could let go and not control the outcome, but
Oh,
let the universe meet me in my desires, the feeling state for what I'm wanting. When we're so busy trying to control how everything turns out, we're like essentially telling the universe, I got it. You don't need to surprise me with the miracles of life. I got it figured out, right? And it's a subtle difference, but my body didn't feel safe enough to let go. So I had to cultivate that safety of belief so the belief could be embodied into, yeah, I just have to have the intention, direct my mind and my heart in the direction I want to go,
Mm,
and witness the synchronicity of the abundance amplifying even more. If we're not willing to even see the synchronicities, if we're not willing to see the little things that are being shown to us,
yes,
why would the universe give us more?
exactly,
Right?
exactly.
So what I would love to know too, I feel like I've been talking forever. Thank you for that space. But
That's okay.
I would love for you to share, like, we had a beautiful half hour or so conversation
Yeah.
in your mini reading of your numerology, and it really touched your heart. I would love
Yes,
to know, and if you would be willing to share with your audience, like, what was the other side of that like? The being receiving that information.
yes. Actually, when I receive actually the report, I read it, but it's like it was different from what you told me. Actually, it was I don't know. It's like when you talked, I received more information than what you were saying. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And
it
when
does.
and when you were actually telling me, where to improve or who I am in different area, I felt like you were inside, not inside me, but in my mind,
Yeah.
because like, sorry, you were living what I was living at the same moment.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really what I felt. I found it magical for a first time for me in numerology. It was amazing because
Yeah.
I got more than, maybe what you thought that you gave me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got
This
more
and
information
it's wonderful.
and more confirmation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I felt too. The first time I had a report, um, actually the very first person that gave me my report is now one of my super best friends, and we collaborate in a lot of things. And so every time it comes back up, it was like my anniversary of having received this. She was who I chose to
Oh,
deliver that for me, and I didn't even know her then. Like it's so cool, right? But I had a full experience. I paid for a full report, and she had included some Reiki and some beautiful experiences with it. But I just remember being like, are you in my head? Like, how do you know these things?
yeah.
And this is the remembering, because so many of the things I was blown away by were all the good things that I wasn't telling myself anymore, but I kind of suspected and tucked it away really deep, right? It's like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm kind of cool. Okay, and it gave me an understanding that I didn't have to beat myself up anymore. Here's some of my patterns. Here's
yeah.
some of the things that I was born in this lifetime to not only overcome, but just
Mhm.
to accentuate.
Yes,
And
yes.
it got me excited. I'm like, oh, I love my my number 6 that likes to see the beauty
Yeah,
that
me
makes me
too. I
dream.
was
Like
like,
I love the 9s that, oh, it makes so much sense why my mind really wants to be like black or white thinking. But when I really allow it to open up, it means so much. It means a lot to get out of this and get into this whole other perspective, because I have 3 9s in my chart that really make it hard to.
yeah, that's
So it just explains the first 40 years of my life, right?
great.
And I mean, it's so wonderful at any time in our life to receive this viewpoint of ourselves. Who
Yes.
doesn't love like astrology reports or the daily horoscope? I used to always read those as
Yeah,
kids.
me too. Me too.
It's like an amplified version of that, right? And um, it really just helps you go, yeah. And then what do I want to do with this information now? Can I just continue to love myself through this? Can I continue to love the challenges and obstacles and go, oh, there's that 1 or 2 patterns that gonna repeat. And I don't have to like be out here with it. I can just go, oh, what's my next choice? Oh, what's my next choice? And now we're leveraging it
Yeah.
instead of feeling like I'm gonna do this because it's dramatic. I used to feel like this. Oh my gosh, I'm so stuck, right? Or I'm in the corner going, I don't know what to choose. But it really brought ease and it brought understanding and way more curiosity than
Yeah.
skepticism, because I wanted not heard and under it felt in a really long time, because you let yourself see, feel, and hear you
Yeah.
through my words,
Yeah.
but I was talking about you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything you were seeing is just the reflection in the mirror that
Yeah.
we oftentimes forget to welcome ourselves into.
But I think also it's good to have sometimes, like you mentioned, an overview, someone else to
Yeah,
remind us actually that what we are doing is we are doing well, we are doing okay, or where we need to change. And I think sometimes it's good
valid.
to have that. And for me, it
Yeah,
gives
I
me,
think so.
yeah, and I think for me, it gives me the opportunity to say, okay, the path that I was actually hesitating or trying to go there, I can go there because it's like
Yeah.
kind of you confirm what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
Oh, so imagine having a numerologist in your pocket or said coach,
Yeah.
right? And you're checking in with your chart weekly. What
Yeah.
is the energy this week? What might be the perceived challenges? How's that coming up for you in your life, in your business, and what you're wanting to create? And how can it help you move through more directly without all of this getting in the way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's really powerful. So we always say in numerology, you can't make this blank up, you can't make it up, right? And there's so many aha moments because it's truth. It's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
truth of who you are. It's you're at will. It doesn't tell you here's what to eat for breakfast, here's the
No,
direction you must go, but
but
you align with what's available for you in this moment because
yeah.
you already have the answers inside of you.
Yeah.
We bring you back to you, bring you right back to you, right back to your decision, right back to your insecurity, right back to anything that's there for you to work through or to accelerate upon.
Yeah.
And to
Actually,
me, it's
it's
the
really
most.
a mirror.
Yes. And anything in the way is a mirror of separation of your mind that's created, oh, I can't because.
Yeah.
And then we just collapse them and go into the synchronicity of, well, here's what happens if I do. And then do I want more? Do I need to pivot? Do I want more? Do I need to pivot? It's amazing.
Yeah.
And you learn to trust yourself and your intuition births out of it. And
Yeah.
like I'm so grateful for the journey. I never did, oh, I'm going to make a business out of numerology. Let me do all the things. But I spent 3 years diving deep because I couldn't get enough of the people in my life, the connections, the contracts that were here to help me clear, to help me move through, to
Mm-hmm.
help me move through the pain and the struggle, to help me accelerate and move through life. Such a broader understanding, you let go of the pain and the
Yeah.
guilt and the I've been betrayed and like all the fears, the betrayal, the abandonment. We all have those feelings inside of us.
Yeah.
But those are the triggers that we're here to collapse and move into more of the synchronistic thing we want to create. Once we're done collapsing triggers, there's nothing left to worry about. You just got to start creating.
Yeah.
And it happens really quickly, even not having them all done. At a moment, you're like, I'm either just sitting here worrying about what I'm not doing, or I can actually be doing the thing that
Yes.
helps me feel the most joy, love, and expansion in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I
When you
quickly got,
start, actually, sorry, when you start, it opens the door, actually.
can't not see anymore.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah.
You can't pretend. You can't not be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like you're just like, okay, I'm done. Like I may not know where to go next, but I'm willing to take the next step. And when you're willing to do that, the universe pops in the person, the experience, the
Yeah.
next opportunity, right? And when
Yeah.
we're so stressed or overwhelmed or multitasking like a mother, we're over here going, I can't see, right? And we think that's the only choice. And I'm saying that with so much love. Like I lived like that for 48 years. I wasn't 20 years ago when I figured this out. This was, in the last 6 years. I'm going to be 55 this year, and I feel like I know myself for the first time in my life, right? Without the insecurities. And what a beautiful gift for my girls who
Yes.
were those beacons of power and hope and unapologetic expression. And I'm like, oh, I have a lot of work to do, but they're freaking amazing. And I don't want any of this to interfere with what they've got going on. And it drove me to be a better mom, a curious human. And my whole spiritual world opened up from that point. My intuition blossomed, and I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah.
I am not who I was even yesterday. It constantly
Yeah.
changes.
It's a great feeling, actually, when you see the change in you and in a positive way.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, it's just, you just want to say, okay, bring more, I can take it.
Yes. What else? Oh my gosh. And literally I do. I get up every morning and I work on my energy and I bring in like my essence, my higher self, and I just fill it like through my heart and I let it fill my whole body. And then I'll bring in love, source, and I'll let that mix and swirl in. And then the intention, bring my mind into my heart and set out my intention. And this doesn't
Yeah.
take more than a few minutes, right? And then I get excited about the magic and the mysteries that will unfold today. And I ask my higher guidance to show me. I'm here to receive the gifts. It's not going to be like showering me with money, but like, what are the gifts? And I always find them. And then that moment of the day, I'm like, oh, there's that gift, and there's more. And it's fun. It's fun to watch that and ask and see it unfold and come back in. It really helped me move from that separation of feeling everything was so skeptical or that I was drinking the Kool-Aid
Mm,
into letting go of the resistance, the control that I had so held in my body, to trust myself.
yeah.
So all of it was a lack of trust in myself, right?
Yeah. And I think also because what I do also in the morning, I ask for guidance. I ask my higher self uh, for miracle during the day, even if
Yeah,
the small. And I think people forget to ask.
I did.
And because maybe I don't know, for with no judgment, but sometimes we don't think it can happen. But since I've been doing it, things keep coming.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. And I wanted to ask. So I had like two things going on. I forget to ask. I thought I had to do the world by myself, right? Motherhood by myself, clean the kitchen by myself. Like learning to ask in the physical was really important as
Yeah.
well. Using my
Mhm.
voice,
Yeah.
right? I would just like conform and be like, I'll just do whatever and make it all better. And that didn't help me later, right?
Mm.
The other thing was asking my guides, believing that we're held in so much love, believing I didn't need to know a name always. I had a team and they guided me and they held me. And so letting myself really play in that and really understanding that, you know, you want to feel love when you're feeling really nervous or anxious about something, call that in and you can feel it. It's almost like I always feel like big wings kind of coming around and giving you a big hug, like that feeling, right? Um, but I was so afraid to ask to get it wrong that I didn't ask at all. What if I get the intention wrong? I used to get mad. People like, we're gonna write our intentions. I'd be like, because I thought it had to be so big, right? And I didn't realize it was just like giving the mind a job to do and how you want to feel. Because without the intention, we're living in inner tension and we're at the whim of what we think our mind is creating as reality,
Yeah.
right? Like the stress and the this and that. When we're intentional, we can actually invite the mind to kind of have a seat inside the heart and get curious what that might look like,
Yeah.
but then work together. Because we're built to be mind, body, spirit. And then coming out of the heart is the biggest wave and ripple that the universe goes, oh, there's a signal. Boop, match that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So it's really all about our frequency, which is
Yes.
another conversation for another time. But when you realize you always have a higher frequency to welcome your state of being into, it's not that the world around you changed. You stepped in to a world that wasn't able to be seen, felt, or heard because you weren't able to see, feel, or hear yourself.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally
So
agree.
good.
Yes.
And I was, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I was saying I agree with you.
Yeah. And bringing it back to numerology, these experiences, it's interesting because I sent you your written report after, I believe, correct? For you able to
Yeah.
read everything.
Yeah.
And I think of it, it's taken a bit to learn this, trust it, meld it, be with people with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The magic is in the connection with people. And so I had, you and I met through a summit that was running,
Yes.
and I offered a freebie to have a free experience of your numerology, and we connected. And I had a number of people. It was extraordinary how many people were reaching out. But I insisted that we connect either on the phone or on
Yeah.
Zoom. And so some of those people never followed through, which was perfect. And a lot of you guys did. And the ones that I had the conversation with, we did just this, but we were connected. And I was sharing about you. And I wanted to feel how that felt in your body. And I wanted to feel how that was received because there's a resonance, even now.
Yeah.
Whoever's listening in on replay, whoever's here now, there's a container of consciousness that we're sharing in that frequency of this conversation full of love, full of excitement, full of peace, right?
Yeah.
And you can feel it. And when someone delivers that information in person, it is way more powerful than anything you read, because reading, you can sometimes your mind goes this way or this way, but now you have a memory from having been through the experience first
Mm-hmm.
that you can come back to and remember and get curious,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just always so much more. It's so plentiful in itself.
Yes. Hmm. Sorry, but you were
That's
finished.
it.
You were finished.
Yeah, just this the attunement that we have, whether we're in person or just on Zoom, is very undeniable.
Yeah.
This energetic connection that we have as humans,
Yes.
right? And to have that in-person delivery, it's just the difference between reading something in the paper or reading something that's kind of like cool and really experiencing yourself differently. And that's what I stand for, really having these experiences for people to be able to go, oh, maybe that's
Yeah,
possible
I
for me
felt
too.
it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I don't know if you have anything that you would like to add as we approach the end of our conversation. Is anything that you would like to say?
Yeah, I think if you're listening to this, I feel like the numbers call us. They have their own beautiful consciousness, just like we have our own unique expression. And when you're interested, you're watching the numbers on the clock, you're finding the synchronicities, the repeated numbers, you want to know more, you're just looking up angel numbers, like you're looking up the information. And so, if that's you and you want to dive into this too, connect with me, because we have a way for you to study a 6-week self study course where you can learn the basic foundations, dive into your own chart, really learn. And I just want people to know that that's possible. And then also, if you really are curious about experience with me, you can go to my website, you'll have the link, and
Yes.
they can on their own free experience to connect with me in a conversation. So two different options, go by way of learning more yourself without having to wonder anymore, or to experience it for yourself, or both. They're both great. As numerologists, we have like a little pool of us, the master numerologists, and we're always like talking to each other. What do you see? What do you see? Because we never see ourselves the way others do, right? And who doesn't want to know more about who they are? Truly.
Yeah, exactly.
I think what drove
And
me most was tell me more about me.
yeah. And I definitely recommend Michele because for me it was really a great experience. So I will put the link below the video so you can reach her through her website. And I would like to thank you, Michele, for being here and chat with me. And maybe, who knows, we might have another conversation about another topic together.
There's so many. Let's just have all the conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Thank you everyone for watching, and like, share, or subscribe. And I see you next time. Thank you everyone. Bye-bye. Bye, Michele.
Bye.
Bye.